As a ruling All Progressives Congress, APC battles pressures from two sides on whether or not to revisit its zoning template. Vice President Senator Kashim Shettima, a South-South governor, and some power brokers have moved in to ensure that the party's choices prevail. The APC National Working Committee, NWC, last week unveiled Senator Godswill Akpabio, South-South, as Senate President, and Jibrin Barrow, Northwest, as Deputy Senate President. However, a group of northern businessmen and politicians and some concerned Nigerians have warned the APC against ignoring the Northwest's demand to produce the Senate President, with some former members of the National Assembly from the South-South kicking against the micro-zoning of the slots, arguing that the positions should have been thrown open to anyone irrespective or respective zones. Joining us now from our Abuja studio is Duke Alamboye, National Secretary of Nigeria Youth Organization and National Coordinator of Green Assembly Initiative. Good morning and welcome to the morning show.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you very much for having me.
All right, Mr. Alamboye, just giving an introduction into the story so far with regards to the principal officers, or who would emerge the principal officers of the National Assembly. But very importantly, what a number of people are asking is, they don't want a rubber stamp assembly. Before we begin to pick the principal officers, what's your view on the 10th National Assembly and how independent they will be without party interference or significant interference from the president? Okay,
quickly, I want to agree with you. The insinuations coming from the public is very apt. In time past, we've had an assembly that is, yes, actually rubber stamp. So many interferences here and there. And let's make this clear. The legislation is an entity of its own. It's not an entity being controlled by the executive or by the judiciary. They are on their own. And for God's sake, Nigerians had come out in the past election to elect 109 senators and 360 House of Rep members to represent them at the national legislation level. So these people are people that represent their constituency, their senatorial zones. Aptly, they have the right, they have the legitimacy to do that representation. So therefore, who becomes their leader in terms of talking about speaker or the Senate President is vested in their hands. In time past, we've seen the legislation that only does the will of the executive other than the will, other than what can push the nation affront in terms of policy making. The basic duty of the legislation, as far as Nigerian content is concerned, is number one, to make good laws, to ensure that the Constitution conforms to present activities. Number two, also to have an oversight function on the SXs or good conduct of executions by the executive arm of government. So this is totally their job. And for goodness sake, they are supposed to be as independent as anybody can think about. So the interference coming from here and there, quarters, party lines, interference coming from the executive is an untold situation. Politicians should begin to understand that Nigerians are beginning to rise up to the occasion. It is no more those times that they do things haphazardly the way they like and nobody cares about what they do. As it is today, everybody in the country is following up what is happening democratically in our system, because everything that is going wrong in our country is attached to how we've been governed and the process of governance. This is a very key time in the history of our nation. We've come together. Today, we've elected the president, a person of Asiwaju, and if the legislation have to also get their vote their principal officers, I do not see any reasons why anybody whatsoever should interfere in it. It's primarily their duty to elect their house members or house leaders. So the interference is a no-go area from either the party. Now let me take this very close instance again. In time past, look at the 9th Assembly that just left. Because of these interferences, they have not been able to see that there's no tangible constitutional laws that they were made. There was no tangible oversight functions that was carried out. Even most importantly, most visibly, the oversight functions that came up. That is, if I remember very well, the issue of the NDDC that came up that was heated, that caused so much heat in the polity in the country, how did it end? We saw the same man, the APC today is interfering in the affairs of the legislation, blessing the candidate, not only zoning, but blessing the candidates, the candidacy of Senator Akpabio. The same man whom when it was minister, came to the same assembly to distort the affairs of the assembly. That's the same man today they are bringing to come and say that they are baptizing or they are anointing as the Senate president. This is not the way to go. I agree with you. Even if they have, I'm coming, please, let me make my point. If they have a preferred candidate or a preferred zone, they intend to move the Senate presidents to, there are legislative and very legitimate ways to go about it. The instrument for lobby is there, not to come up only to say you are baptizing a candidate, to despise the intelligence and the intelligence of other senators is not the best way to go, and we condemn it. The interference is becoming too much in this aspect, and Nigerians are seriously condemning it. Okay, excellent points you've made. So you represent Nigerian Youth Organization, Duke, and Nigerian youths are becoming extremely tired. I listen to a number of them, whether they are online or they're people I meet in real time, face to face. They're tired of hearing all the points that are being made on television. Some of them even say they don't want to watch television anymore, and some of them don't even watch television. So the question they're asking, which I would ask you now, is, with all of the things that's happening, what is Nigerian Youth Organization going to do that will change the game, that will make it impossible for any political party to influence the leaders of the National Assembly? What are you going to do beyond talking on television? Give us 1, 2, 3 things that you're going to do. Yes, the process starts from here. You will agree with me that one very viable and exposed form is to visit the main media stream, and that is why we are here starting this. If the interference gets more, and I think by Sunday or Monday, we're still in our meeting process, we'll have a street walk. We want to come out to we'll walk from a point to the assembly to let the assembly members know that it is wrong for anybody to interfere in the activities. We will take that same walk to the National Party Secretariat of the APC to tell them that enough. This is not, when once senators are elected to the level of the House, they are no more properties of the party, but properties of Nigerians, because their duty, their main primary function there is to make laws for the country, and the interferences is always distracting their activities. They do not sit down to appropriate on good laws. They do not sit down to checkmate the activities of the executives in terms of execution of policies. Policies that affect execution of jobs. So these are the issues. So many distractions. By the time we allow the party or the executive to determine who becomes the Senate president of our country, we'll begin to see them negotiate their personal interests instead of negotiating the interests of the country. The only time we saw something very, very stiff was when Senator Bukola Saraki was the Senate president. You saw that he was almost against some heel activities of government. So this is why they must be independent, because they also have a function to oversee the activities of the executive. So the executive can in no time or in no way influence the appointments of principal officers in the House. So this is where we are going to. And Nigerian youths, to be very frank to you, we are not sitting down on this course. We are very apt on our game. Every day we bring our statements on social media where our strength is, and when we can afford to come on the mainstream media, we are here to talk. Our youth most of our youth should not get tired of this. This is how we continue to direct and correct the affairs of democracy so that we can get it right. We are the owners of Nigerians, and we will not allow these ill-fated, evil politicians to begin to do all these sort of things to bring back our country. The legislature is a very tactical and a starting process for democracy, so that the principles and laws that comes out, is a guide and provision for the Constitution for every Nigerian to follow. It affects the proceedings of the court. It affects the proceedings of the executive. So nobody, neither from the party nor from any side, nobody should influence. The 109 members are very intact and sound enough to elect who becomes the Senate president. It's solely their responsibility, and we do not want anybody to join in the affairs of determining who becomes the Senate president. Not to talk of. Let me give you one instance again. The party in the party.
Hello, Mr. Duke. Mr. Duke.
Had even brought
Mr. Duke. Mr. Duke, it is not.
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
It's not a monologue. Please, we are trying to.
What we're trying to do is to get the points that you're going to make. The question I asked has not been answered. You said you will do a lot of talking on mainstream media and on social media. I am saying that the Nigerian youths that you represent, your constituency, I am consistently engaging with them. And the question they are asking is, what else can be done beyond talking on television and social media? Are you going to court? Are you going to demonstrate? What are you going to do beyond the talk?
I just said,
talk has not done anything.
Yes, I just told you that these are the starting points of the engagement. By next week, you're going to see us take a march, take a walk to the APC party secretariat, telling them, asking them not to interfere in the activities of the legislation. We also we'll still take such march to the National Assembly to tell them that their duties, their functions is solely independence, and we are trying to be sure that the 10th Assembly is going to be very, 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 very independent. And so other things that will not be able to expose here. We're going to write so many articles on this. We're going to make seminars, discussions with stakeholders to ensure that we get these things right.
Mr. Duke, you've seen most of the senators that have been elected. Who would you like to be Senate President?
Well, like I'm rightly saying, who becomes Senate President is not our function. But if you place the contenders that I have today on board, I think for the sake of fairness and equity, I think it should go to the north. Today we have the president and the judiciary.
Okay, so it should go to Mr. Yari, right?
That, in my own opinion,
it should go to Mr. Yari.
Yes, it should go to.
So Yari is your candidate, right?
It should go to the north. Yeah.
Okay.
Yari is your candidate.
No, I don't have a candidate.
No, but because the top.
Can you hear me? I don't have a preferred candidate.
Hang on a minute, Mr. Duke. The top contender in the north, Mr. Duke.
Yes.
We have been in media. I've been in media for so many years. We know this game. If you are saying the party supremacy should not reign supreme, what you are saying is you don't want Akpabio. It's as simple as that. Now you say you should go to the north. The other top contender for Senate President in the north is Mr. Yari. So Mr. Yari is your candidate. You said north. That means I infer that is your candidate. We understand this game. So why should he go to the north, Mr. Yari? Answer the question, Mr. Duke.
Now, okay, it's very simple. Today, you see several appointments have been made. We've elected the president. The president is from the southern part of Nigeria, and also the judge, the chief judge of the federation, is also from the southern part of Nigeria. So for the purpose of equity and fairness, we are one Nigerian. Although personally, I don't really like discussing regional, but if that is the case, if that is where they are going to, I think the Senate president should go to the north. And if Yari is the most visible and firm candidate in the north, so be it. What we are saying is that it is still the responsibility of the House to decide all of this. So this is where my point is driving to. If Yari, in the best opinion of the House, it becomes the Senate President, and that is their wish, so be it. What we are saying is that we do not want interference. Their independence is key to us, other than any other thing we are discussing here. Okay. But for fairness, if we look at, to get that, yes.
All right, thank you, Mr. Duke, for making your position very clear. But in the event that Senator Yari does become president of the Senate, do you not think that it would not be in the interest of fairness and equity to have a Muslim in terms of the first, second, third citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? And aside that, since we're zoning, I mean, you've given up your suggestions. Do you mind also zoning? So you said the Senate president should be from the north. Deputy Senate, where do you think it should be from?
Yeah, Deputy Senate President can also go back to the south.
Okay.
Deputy Senate President can also go back to the south. But let me clear one thing. When we're talking about federal character in the affairs of the nation, we're not really talking about religion. It's talking about, what we're talking about is getting everybody on board. There are so many other appointments that will come up. There are so many other positions that are glaring. So we want a situation where this government will have everybody, almost everybody represented at the aim of affairs. Not really religion. I'm not a fanatic to that level. But the fact is that people are manning the government from every side of the nation. This is what is more imperative and more conducive for the country, so that we will not go back to what the shortfalls we had from the outgoing government. Everybody should be carried along in governance, and most especially if out of the three key, this is the legislation, the judiciary, and the executive. The executive and the judiciary is in the south now. I am of the opinion that the legislation should go to the north.
Okay.
And if Yari, for God's sake, I'm saying, if he's the predominant candidate there, so be it.
All right, so finally, Speaker of the House, Deputy Speaker, zoned where?
Pardon?
Speaker of the House of Representatives, Deputy Speaker.
Get that, please.
Just to complete the cycle of zoning, Speaker of the House, Deputy Speaker.
Yes, Speaker of the House can still come to the south. Then we just oppose again. The Deputy Speaker goes to the north again. It gives it a clear balance.
Okay, thanks for your arrangement.
All right, Duke Alamboye, let me ask you this pointedly, and you can say yes or no. Are you speaking based on what you would like, or you're speaking for the Nigerian youths that is represented by the Nigerian Youth Organization?
Well, everybody have his opinion. I'm a leader in the country. I'm a youth leader in the country, and I think before I come to sit down here, I have an authority as secretary, and that implies that we would have romanced our minds. We would have had like minds. We would have discussed this. We would have seen this as a burden to us. We would have seen this as our advocacy to having good governance and good democracy in the country, so that it is impactful. That is why I'm here, and I'm sitting here at the capacity of my opinion and then the opinion of my colleagues. I will tell you that next week, like I told you, you're going to see a large number of us march to those points I've told you. So it's not a Duke thing. You will see that it encompasses the thoughts and aspirations of Nigerian youths.
Okay, Mr. Alamboye, so you mobilize yourself to go and say no to Akpabio. That's what you are going to do invariably at the APC.
No, we'll mobilize ourselves to go and say no to interference in the activities of the legislation.
But no to interference means no to Akpabio, yes to Yari. Yeah. Yari is on Yari we stand.
Of course, the party. Yes, of course, the party.
On Yari we stand, isn't it?
Hello, sir, please. Of course, the party.
No, I know, I'm making your point.
The party has thrown.
No, but what you are saying is that
yes, the party has thrown Akpabio in the aim of. But
it's on Yari you stand.
Yari has not gone. Yari is not baptized by the party. The person that the party has brought is led
but let me ask you a question,
for scrutiny.
Please. But if all of a sudden,
and with his antecedents,
can I ask you a question?
With antecedents.
Hello, Mr. Duke. Mr. Duke.
Yes, I'm with you.
If all of a sudden Yari is baptized by the party today, you will say that there's nothing wrong with the party, isn't it? You will say the party is fair, wouldn't you?
Yes, if Yari from the north, today we've seen, like I'm still emphasizing, today we've seen that both the judiciary and the executive is in the south. It would have also been correct in the eyes of whoever that wants to interfere to say that let the Senate president go to the north. It becomes a balance. If it goes to the north and the contenders, within the contenders, Yari emerges, we are good and fine. All we are preaching here is balance in government, not interference in the affairs
your
of
legislation. Your idea of balance in government, Mr. Duke, is you have a president that is Muslim, vice president that is Muslim, Senate president that is Muslim. That's a balance for you, right? In government?
No, like I said, what we are talking about here is federal capital territory. No, I will not answer that because that is not the point.
No, that's the point I'm asking you. Mr. Duke.
Muslim,
Mr. Duke.
Hello, sorry.
Yes. So would you call having a president, vice president, and senate president are all Muslims balance in government? Is that balance?
Where do we have balancing the national character referred to a religion? We are not discussing religion. We are discussing people involvement. As a people, where you come from, everybody should be represented. And the House of Legislation is having such character. We are not talking about which religion one belongs to here. We're talking about people being involved in governance
so
because they are Nigerians.
Religion
and as
does
they are
not
Nigerians,
matter.
the divide should be the religion at this stage doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
We shouldn't play politics with everything.
Okay.
Religion at this stage it doesn't matter. What matters most is everybody being involved in governance so that people can have their say.
Okay.
That is what matters most.
Okay, so, but for you now, religion doesn't matter. We can, as far as you are concerned, we can have Muslim president, Muslim vice president, Muslim senate president, Muslim House of Rep member. Religion doesn't matter.
So far as I'm concerned, let me rephrase for you. Let me rephrase for you. So far as I'm concerned, let me rephrase for you, sir, please. So far as I'm concerned, we should have everybody included in Nigerian politics. The southern Nigeria should be inclusive. The northern should be inclusive.
Okay.
And who do you blame? The northerners are predominantly Muslims.
In all of this,
the northerners are predominantly Muslims. So if anything is going to them and it befalls on a Muslim, who do you blame?
Let me quickly take you on this. In all of this also, you don't feel that the Southeast is unfairly treated. So after you have a vice president from the north, you feel the Senate president too should go to the north. So the Southeast too does not stand a chance.
You heard me when I said the speaker. You heard me when I also said the speaker should come to the south. And then if it comes to the south, we still have an opportunity to microzone.
So why can't the speaker go to the south?
Which of these regions, in your opinion, if that is that's your opinion, I'm not against it. If that's your opinion, let majority carry the end of the day.
Okay,
but I'm also saying, okay, we have speakership to also give. Yes, I can hear you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Duke. I mean, very important. Despite everything you're saying, you're just advocating. At the end of the day, it's the House that would decide. But let me ask you a question, because Kay had just asked you with regards to you being the secretary of the National Youth Organization. And this, talk about, are you representing the young people in Nigeria? Who are you representing? Your views? Is it personal or is it for a group? Because last year, you were suspended by the National Youth Organization based on complaints received from your kinsmen in the South, as well as written reports around, impropriety and all that. So are you still speaking on behalf of the National Youth Organization? Have you been reinstated? Are you speaking on their behalf? And have you been able to sort out the issues, around financial impropriety in the group?
Yes, okay, let me quickly handle that first time in the public because it involved the security. I took it to the security agencies and they tried to settle it. It was a manipulation done by some unscrupulous elements, and I think that has been settled far back last year. And I'm standing here, I'm sitting down here talking as the National Secretary of the Nigerian Youth Organization. That is sacrosanct. Those activities were manipulations, and the security agencies had come into that and settled it. So that's why I didn't go to public again. But that is on that.
Okay, Mr. Duke Alamboye, that's all we'll be able to take with you. Thank you so much for your time.